Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Beginning with the Shikshastaka prayers. Chetudarpanamarjanam Bhavamahadavagni Navapanam Shreyaikarava Chandrika Viternam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Pardhanam Patiparam Purnamitaswadanam Sarvamasnapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Someone want to read the English? We usually do the English right after. You want to do them all and then do it the other way?
Yeah, let's do them all. It's easier, Jiva.
What?
It's easier if we just do them all.
Okay. Nam namakari bhaudani jasarva satyastra charpitani amatasmarne nikala etadrishi tavakripa bhagavan mamapi durdaiva midvishani hajanina naraga. We're chanting them and then doing English. That's the way it is. Tunadapi sunichena tororapi sahisnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. Nadanam nadanam nasundarim kavitam vajagadishkamane mama jamani jamanishware bhavatad bhakti rahaituki trai ayinanda tununjakinkaram patitam mam vishame bhavam budo kripaya tava pada pankaja stitaduvi sadrisham vichintaya nayanam galarashu dharaya Vadanam Gadgada Hridaya Gira Pulakai Nichitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayitam Nimeshena Chakshusha Pravishayitam Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Virahiname Ashli Shiva Parvatam Panastumam Darshanam Armahatam Karotu Va Yata tava vidahantalam pato matprana natastu sa eva na para. Prabhu shikshasta shlokaye parashune Krishne prema bhakti tara pade dine dine. What's that mean? We'll find out. Maybe. Okay. Someone want to read?
All glory to Shri Krishna Sankirtana, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtana movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious.
Oh my Lord, your holy name alone can render all benedictions to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies, and there are no hard and fast rules for chanting these holy names. Oh my Lord, you have so kindly made it easy to approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them.
One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly.
O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth.
The son of Maharaj, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet.
Oh my Lord, when will my eyes be declared with tears decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the relocations your name?
Oh Govinda, feeling your separations, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence.
I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He's completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Now we find out what that ninth one means.
If anyone recites or hears these 8 verses of instruction by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his ecstatic love and devotion for Krishna increase day by day.
All the more reason to recite them daily.
Okay, let me get the gallery view so I can look at a couple of people. Okay, so we're up to
The
the ecstasy of this one right here. So we're just going to continue reading where we left off in the first chapter. In my book, it's page 39. The ecstasy of transcendental love has 2 components. So now how many people knew transcendental love can be divided up into 2 components? The context and the cause of the excitement. The context is also divided into 2 parts, the subject and the object. Hopefully, as we go a little further, we may start understanding this, because otherwise it's hard to understand. The exchange of devotional service is the subject, the exchange of devotional service, and Krishna is the object. His transcendental qualities are the causes of excitement. This means that a devotee who becomes enamored by the transcendental qualities of Krishna becomes excited to serve him. So the next part just mentions a little about the impersonalists, but this is why we're personalists. This is ecstasy. It is exciting. It's an adventure. You know, even in a state that we're not pure devotees, it's exciting and it's an adventure, because we can make progress every day. And as we're making progress, it becomes more ecstatic. We become happier as we make progress in spiritual life. So there's no comparison. I mean, really no comparison between that, the excitement of having loving exchanges with Krishna, and merging into the impersonal Brahman. So I'm going to just read some more, and I'll finish the paragraph. Maybe Jiva has some comments. The impersonal Mayavadi philosophers say that the absolute truth is nirguna, without qualities. But the Vaishnava philosophers say that the absolute truth is described as nirguna because he has no material qualities. This is not to say that he has no spiritual qualities. Indeed, the Lord's spiritual qualities are so great and so enchanting that even liberated persons become attracted to him. This is explained in the Atmarama verse of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.7.10, where it is stated that those who are already situated on the platform of self-realization are attracted by the transcendental qualities of Krishna. This means that Krishna's qualities are not material, but are pure and transcendental.
Otherwise, they wouldn't be attracted, because those on the liberated platform are only attracted to those things, all things transcendental.
Can you give us an example?
An example. Somebody said something?
Yeah, 4 Kumaras.
4 Kumaras.
Yes.
Yes. And what about the 4 Kumaras?
Well, they were impersonalist, yogi, and afterwards they, they accept Vishnu when they smell the tulsi leaf.
Yes. From his lotus feet. Yes.
And they weren't attracted to anything material. They had no attraction to anything material. But when they, but that was more attractive than their impersonal understanding and realizations. So it wasn't material. So Krishna is known as, what's the Sanskrit word, anyone?
Apaurushaya.
Oh, that's a good word.
It's a nice word.
Asama Urdhva.
You're talking about what you read.
Yes, the truth. That the absolute truth is what?
Nirguna.
Yes, very good.
Did she say
Nirguna.
near? I heard guna.
Yeah,
I didn't hear
nirguna.
nirguna.
Yes, that's what he
And
just
what does
read.
nirguna mean?
No
Devoid
material qualities.
material qualities.
Right, but not no spiritual qualities. He has spiritual qualities. So the highest stage of ecstasy is characterized by the following 13 transcendental activities. 1, now this is the highest stage of ecstasy characterized by 13 transcendental activities. 1 is dancing. 2 is, and we all generally do that in kirtan, maybe not all, but we're going to point those out that are not. 2 is rolling on the floor, and that we don't do too often. But sometimes people roll on the floor in ecstasy, but sometimes people roll on the floor pretending they're in ecstasy. And Prabhupada says you can tell the difference because if you kick them and they feel it, then they weren't in transcendental ecstasy. Singing, we all do singing. Clapping, we clap. Stretching the body. Some of us do hatha yoga.
We raise our hands.
I don't see you raising your hand because I can't ever see anybody. I just can see a couple of people. I tell everybody, please, it's nice to have a personal. Talk about the personal. Now everybody here has no qualities at all.
And how attractive is that?
All we see is names, just names.
Raising my hand is stretching enough for me.
Yeah. Well, stretching the body isn't hatha yoga.
Ecstatic symptoms.
Ecstatic symptoms. Thundering. Thundering.
Yeah.
I guess singing in a loud voice could be called thundering.
I don't know what thundering is. Someone should look it up. Well, Jai Radhe, maybe you know everything. Yawning, I definitely. Breathing heavily if I walk up a flight of stairs. Forgetting social conventions. This is important, forgetting social conventions. Normally social conventions, you have to behave in a certain way. You just forget about that
Doesn't
stuff.
matter.
Drooling, some of these kids have ecstatic symptoms. Laughing. Shaking the head. No. Shaking the head and hiccoughing?
Yeah, hiccuping.
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 If you have the hiccups, that doesn't mean you have ecstatic symptoms, but it could mean you have ecstatic symptoms.
Might be just indigestion.
Yeah, and mostly that's what it is. I thought it was ecstatic symptoms, but I just can't digest my food. So all these symptoms are not awakened simultaneously. They appear according to the exchange of transcendental mellows. Sometimes one symptom is prominent, and at another time, another is prominent. So different. So we're not doing all of them at once. Well, you can do some at the same time. You can be dancing, and you can be clapping and singing, and you could be stretching your body. I'm not sure it's stretching your body. Lord Chaitanya stretches his body much more than a body can stretch.
Yeah.
So I think that's more what stretching your body is.
His joints became elongated and disconnected.
And I'm not sure thundering. Anyone look it up?
We do hear people speak in a thundering voice.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, thundering voice.
But I'm
It
trying
just
to see
says
in here
thundering.
because these are ecstatic symptoms. Translation.
Anyway, we should know what they are. I'm going to read them now without commenting. Dancing, rolling on the floor, singing, clapping, stretching the body, thundering, yawning, breathing heavily, forgetting social convention, drooling, laughing, shaking the head, and hiccuping. All these symptoms.
The definition of thundering is making a resounding, loud, deep noise.
Oh, maybe in kirtan. Oribo! So all these symptoms, they're not all there at once, but if you have some of the symptoms, or if somebody is exhibiting the symptoms, because we know people yawn and it's not an ecstatic symptom. They're just yawning because they're tired, or they see someone else yawn, or even you just talk about yawning, people yawn.
These are different than the 8 that are usually listed.
Well, here is 13. So what are the normal 8?
No, 8 are stunned, perspiration, standing of hairs on end, faltering voice, trembling, changing color, tears, and devastation.
Yeah, that's not, is there any of them that are the same?
Trembling, shaking.
There's no,
head,
not shaking,
the
moving
head.
your head, shaking your head, you're not trembling.
Did you say standing of the hairs on end?
No.
Mhm.
Maybe that's shaking the head is like trembling, I don't know. But normally when you think of trembling, you don't think shaking your head, your whole body is trembling. So besides these 13 and other places, others, there's another, how many, 8?
Those are 8.
8 more listed, so it's 21. And who knows if we look more.
I think the 8 are harder to fake. The other ones, you can fake them. The 13 list, most of them you can fake, but the 8 ones are really beyond anybody's control.
Yeah, those you can do. Let me see the 8 here. Okay.
And the corresponding
Stunned, you can certainly act stunned. Perspiring, I mean, if it's hot, everybody perspires. Standing hairs.
That's hard to fake.
Yeah, well, if you rub your arm against the wall, like, try that. No, it didn't do it. I'm gonna have to chant better.
Some of the temples in India, rolling on the ground is a seva. You go around circumambulate the temple by rolling on the ground. And I have done it once in one of the temples in India. So.
Oh, I wish I saw that on video.
It's like a seva, it's hard though. You feel dizzy. You just roll over, and throughout the circumference of the temple, you just roll your body, and you just, instead of walking, you circumambulate by rolling. So.
Yeah, so one of these things is changing color. So that's easy to do. Change color.
Stay in the sun a long time.
So we see somebody, well, if you don't breathe, you might turn blue. Oh, Krishna. Anyway, it's these are the symptoms. I'll tell you a little story about, Prabhupada did say that about if somebody's in ecstasy, but actually somebody was apparently in ecstasy or rolling on the floor in the temple in Vrindavan, and the devotee kicked him to see if he was in ecstasy. Prabhupada, when he says things, unfortunately, people take it very literal. And, basically what he means is if they're faking it, they're totally not, there's no external consciousness. So you can kick them and they won't know it. But anyway, so after this, it came back to Prabhupada that a devotee kicked this other devotee, not an ISKCON devotee, some Indian man, and in the temple because he was rolling on the floor. And Prabhupada told him he has to go find that devotee, that Indian man, and he has to offer his obeisances and apologize for his offense. And he has to find that person. And I was told he looked everywhere, all different temples all over. And I don't know if he ever found them. But so when I mention kicking people, don't take it literally. Take it to mean that if you're really in ecstasy, there's no external consciousness. So
I found those under Anubhava, symptoms of ecstatic love, and the other ones are.
Well, everyone here
Here.
those are the symptoms of ecstatic love, the H you
And the
mentioned.
thundering is roaring.
Roaring like a lion, I guess.
But they also have bleeding. Did you have bleeding?
No bleeding, but you can bleed too.
And wasn't one of them tearing? Did it say tearing?
Yes, tears coming out. That was on her list.
Tears is easy one.
Tearing is easy.
Yes.
Okay, kid, turn on your video camera and let me see these tears
Acting
come
like a
out.
madman.
I guess you can't turn it on.
No, you can. Actors know how to, they learn how to do that. You have to think of some real sad things and stuff.
Right.
You can cry, but it really takes some practice. But I mean, it's not something that people can't do. They can definitely do that if they wanted to. Okay,
It's
so
like the love becomes so intense that the life airs and the elements all become like disturbed, and so then these bodily symptoms naturally manifest in the person who is experiencing such intense love. It's like this body isn't really like made for it or something, just it disturbs the elements, and then all these like with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the arms that go in, or the arms that become elongated, and all these various uncommon symptoms.
So this is some of the teachings that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught to Srila Rupa Goswami.
So scientific.
Yeah, it's very scientific. And for us, I mean, I'm just trying to look at the practical side. Most of it, we're not going to be experiencing. We may get something once in a while, but to be exhibiting these symptoms, I don't think we're going to be doing any of that.
Prabhupada was talking to one person about science. He said, science is not just theory, it's also experience. So when you don't have the experience, then it's just theory. We're meant to take it beyond just the theory and take it to the practical, to the experience, so we can realize that, experience that, in our life. And then it becomes ours. And then it'll become steady. Once we have that fortifying experience, then we become more steady.
And I could say we have experience. And when I say we, I mean like all of us to different degrees. You're in kirtan, you feel like dancing. You just start dancing, not because somebody pulls you in to dance, but because you actually feel like you start jumping up and down. You're singing, we actually want to, and clapping, you do these things. So some of these things we do naturally do, and out of ecstasy, it may not be pure ecstasy, but there is some feeling of ecstasy.
Yeah, it's preliminary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it's just on the theoretical platform, it's easier to be swayed from it. You know, that's why it's important for us to get a taste in our devotional service. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to distribute the love of God, but he also came to experience it. You know, Krishna came to experience Radha's love for him. So we're meant to broadcast, but also to experience ourselves. Like Prabhupada said, I didn't write these books just for you to sell, you know. My only complaint is my disciples aren't reading my books enough. The more we experience, the more we'll want to share it. So it's like they go together. We'll want to share. Whenever you taste something nice, you want someone else to also experience it.
Yeah, you don't want to experience it by yourself. I mean, that's like not much fun. I mean, it is if it's with Krishna because you're not by yourself. But generally, when you feel you're really happy, you want to be happy with other people. So you want to give them Krishna consciousness, because that's the only real happiness there is. So now there are 5 transcendental rasas or mellows. I think everyone should know this. The initial stage is called Shantarati, wherein one who is liberated from material contamination appreciates the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who attains this stage does not exactly engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, for this is the neutral stage. Shantarati, no Shantaras. In the second stage, what is it called in Sanskrit?
Dasyarati.
Yes, which is called Dasarati. A person appreciates his position as being everlastingly subordinate to the Supreme Lord, and he understands that he is eternally dependent on the causeless mercy of the Supreme Person. At that time, there is an awakening of neutral affection, such is felt by a son who grows up and begins to appreciate his father's benedictions. At this stage, the living entity wants to serve the Supreme Lord instead of serving Maya, illusion. So the third stage is the development of transcendental love, is called Sakyarati. In this stage, one associates with the Supreme as a friend. So first it's neutral, then you're a servant, then you're a friend or equal. On an equal level, it says, yeah, with love and respect. As this, and even sometimes because you're equal, you may get upset with your friend sometimes. So people would get upset, not with Krishna, but if Krishna's like listening to his mother and leaving them, then they get upset with him. So as this stage is further developed, there is joking and such relaxed exchanges as laughing. On this level, there are fraternal exchanges with the personality of Godhead, and one is free from all bondage. One forgets his inferior position as a living entity, but at the same time, he has the greatest respect for the Supreme Person. You want to read?
And rati means affection. Did we read it? What
I
did
didn't read, no.
I think rati means affection. Remember? Third stage? Fourth stage. Fifth?
Yes, no, fifth, not fifth.
Fourth. In the fourth stage, called Vatsalya Rati, the fraternal affection of the preceding stage develops into paternal affection. So everything that was there in the previous ratis is also in this one. It's a development. At this time, the living entity acts as the parent of God. Instead of worshiping the Lord, the living entity, as a parent of the Supreme Person, becomes an object of worship for him. At this stage, the Lord depends on the mercy of his pure devotee and puts himself under the control of the devotee to be raised nicely. Such a devotee can embrace the Supreme Lord and even kiss his head.
But basically, you treat him as if it's your son. You know, not you're seeing it that way. You're thinking that way.
You feel like he needs me. You know, I have to feed him, otherwise he'll starve.
I have to chastise him, otherwise he won't learn how to behave properly.
What other religion can you find such a relationship with God? You know, it's all God the Father, God the order supplier. Nothing so intense.
I was reading in the Bhagavatam that Nanda Maharaj smells the head of Krishna, baby
Yes.
Krishna. It's just so cute because we do it too, right? We smell the head of babies.
Yeah.
And Krishna carries his shoes on his head. You know?
And his father's shoes.
Yeah, his father's shoes. In the fifth stage called, anybody?
Rasa.
Madhurya Ras. Madhurya Rati.
Yes.
Madhurya Rati. There is a transcendental exchange of conjugal love between the lover and the beloved. It is at this stage that Krishna and the damsels of Raja glanced lovingly at one another. For on this platform, there is an exchange of glances, movements of the eyebrows, pleasant words, attractive smiles, etc. Besides these 5 primary rasas, there are 7 secondary rasas, which consists of laughing, wonder, chivalry, pity, anger, ghastliness, and devastation. For example, who was related to Krishna as a warrior in the chivalrous rasa?
Arjuna.
No.
Bhishma.
Bhishma. Arjuna was a friend.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah. Bhishma was related to Krishna as a
called
warrior. in the
Veera
chivalrous-
Rasa. Veera Rasa.
Right. Hiranyakashipu, however, experienced an exchange of the
Santaras.
Ghastly.
ghastly, right?
Bibhatsa. It's
Ghastly
called
and
Bibhatsa.
devastating rasas. The 5 primary rasas constantly remain within the heart of the pure devotee. And the 7 secondary rasas sometimes appear and disappear to enrich the flavors and tastes of the primary ones. So one has their primary rasa, which is fixed. It's always there. Like Arjuna is always a friend to Krishna. But sometimes he might feel angry, you know, anger might come, or some wonder, or
Laughter.
yeah, like that.
I don't know why you're picking on all the negative things.
So, because I just said here, wonder, chivalry, pity, anger, ghastliness, and devastation.
That's what Bhishma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed that first one was that. Everyone after that is kind of,
Laughing, wonder.
yeah.
I just don't want to focus on the negative.
Yeah, and those the secondary ones enrich one's primary rasa. They enliven it. They make it even more tasty. Rasa is like taste or mellow. Examples of Shanta Bhaktas or devotees in the neutral stage are the 9 Yogendras, namely Kavi, Havi, Antariksha, Prabhuda, Pipalayana, Avirhotra, Dravida, Drumila, Chamasa, and Karabhajana. The 4 Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanatana, are also examples of this stage. That's neutral, Shanta. Examples of devotees in the second stage, servitorship, are Raktak, Chitrak, and Patraka.
Raktak. I thought Raktak was a friend.
I think these are all friends, but in the servant mode.
Oh, okay. There are 2 kind of friends.
Yeah.
One is like they serve him and they're friends, and the others that they're actually in one sense superior to him. They're not superior, of course, but they take that position.
And there's another kind of friend who also are a little involved in the Madhurya, with they're involved like Madhumangal. Yes. Okay. These are all servants of Krishna in Gokula. In Dwarka, there is Daruka. And in the Vaikuntha planets, there are Hanuman and others. Devotees in the third stage, friendship, include Sridham in Vrindavan and Bhima and Arjuna in Dwarka, or on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. As for those related to Krishna in parental love, they include his mother, father, uncle, and similar relatives. In conjugal love, there are the damsels of Raja, Vrindavan, the queens in Dwarka, and the goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha. No one can count the vast number of devotees in this rasa.
So you can count them in the other rasas?
He doesn't say.
I know.
But it seems like mostly they're in this rasa, huh? I never realized that.
Well, it just seems to indicate that, but it doesn't really say that. No one can count the vast number of devotees in this rasa. They're talking about Madhurya rasa.
Yeah, because they say there's unlimited manjaris serving the gopis, and everybody wants to serve Krishna intimately. I mean, they're all intimate, but this is the most intimate.
It seems like he has a lot of friends too.
He has a lot of friends. Yeah. So there's a lot of grass. So
But why did you say Madhumangal was in the Madhurya rasa a little bit, Jiva?
He's a cowherd boy, so he's a friend. He's a friend, but he
Mhm.
also is involved, like with the gopis
He makes arrangements with the gopis for Krishna to meet Radha.
Oh,
in
okay.
their pastimes. Yeah,
Nice.
Even Balaram is Ananga Manjari.
yeah, and there's messengers who are friends, but then they bring messages.
So even Balaram's what?
Ananga Manjari.
Balaram?
It's an expansion of Balaram, Ananga Manjari.
Oh, expansion of Balaram, not that Balaram's in.
Right.
So you say it the other way. Ananga Manjari is an expansion.
Ananga Manjari is, yeah, well.
Balaram comes first. It's Krishna, then Balaram. But of course, there's no way somebody comes first because we can't really understand it. We have our idea of time, and it goes in a certain order, but time is eternal. So
It's just amazing that we have all this detailed knowledge of the spiritual world, and it's all to remind us or to attract us back to that realm where life is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. Krishna does so many things to try to bring us back there. And that's what all this knowledge is for.
it's also to fill our head with something with
other than-
this instead of everything else we fill our heads with. So it's to help us. But there's no other religion that has anything in comparison to what the spiritual world is like. Everything. Tells
Such detail.
everything. Nothing else. Of course, other people may not believe it, but whether they believe it or not, it's still a fact. And you know it's a fact because by following this process of Krishna consciousness, Krishna gives us some realization. And by that realization, we know that this is real. This Krishna consciousness is real.
And that's why Prabhupada stressed that it's a science. It's not just a religion, it is a science. We have so much, first is theoretical, but you can experience it. And it's real, it's factual.
I want to read some more. We're up to here.
Yeah.
In general, attachment to Krishna is of two kinds. Now, there's two kinds of attachment. The first kind is attachment with awe and veneration. That's where you're just amazed. You're just like what you see sometimes when a big famous musician comes out, and then the women are just in awe of just screaming and just amazed and can't function. But of course, you can function a little better with if you have real love for Krishna. But awe and veneration, there's characterized by a lack of freedom. There's a lack of freedom in this. Such attachment is exhibited in Mathura and on the Vaikuntha planets. In these abodes of the Lord, the flavor of transcendental loving service is restricted. But in Gokula Vrindavan, love is freely exchanged. And although the cowherd boys and damsels of Vrindavan know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they do not show awe and veneration because of the great intimacy of their relationship with him through thick and thin. It's also sometimes it says that they don't, it's not like they know he's God. He might be God, he might not. They don't care. That doesn't matter. They just love him.
Yeah.
So in the five principal transcendental relationships, awe and veneration are sometimes impediments to one's service to the Lord. Sometimes impediments to one's service to the Lord. I'm thinking even with Srila Prabhupada, because we certainly looked at Srila Prabhupada with awe and veneration, and I think if I ever had to do something for him, I probably would mess it up. Actually, I did, and I did mess it up. So it's like you just don't,
But I think
you get too nervous.
but aren't you supposed to with the spiritual master?
You're supposed to have that relationship, but at the same time, you can have a friendly relationship, but you don't lose your, what's the word?
You don't become too familiar.
Yeah, you don't become too familiar, exactly.
Yeah.
But you can certainly have a relationship other than,
Friend.
yeah, definitely friendly.
Yeah.
So when there is friendship, parental affection, or conjugal love, such awe and veneration are impediments. For example, when Krishna appeared as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki, they prayed to the Lord with awe and veneration because they understood that the Supreme Lord Krishna or Vishnu had appeared before them as their little child. You know, you're supposed to teach, how are you going to, deal with him? You're God. I can't do anything for you. What can I do for you? So this is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:44-51. Devaki and Vasudeva, knowing their son to be the Supreme Personality of God, began to pray to him, although he was present before them as their child. Similarly, when Arjuna saw the universal form of the Lord, he was so afraid that he begged pardon for his dealings with Krishna as an intimate friend. Please forgive me from whatever sins I've committed or offenses to you. Well, in what's the 2 words in the Bhagavad Gita? While I, was intimate when we were friends. No. Anyway, I'll try to find that later. As a friend, Arjuna often behaved unceremoniously with the Lord. And upon seeing the awesome universal form, Arjuna said, this might be it. I don't know, Sanskrit. Shaketi matva prasabam yad uktam. Hey Krishna, hey Yadava, hey Shaketi. Ajanata mahimanam tavedam maya pramadat pranayena vapi. My dear Krishna, sometimes I insulted you by calling you my dear friend Krishna without knowing the greatness of your inconceivable power. Please forgive me. I was mad to address you like a common friend or a common man. That's not the exact usual translation. So similarly, when Krishna was playing jokes on Rukmini, she feared that he might leave her and became so perturbed that she dropped the fan with which she was fanning him and fainted, falling falling unconscious to the floor as her hair scattered. She resembled a plantain tree blown down by a blast of wind. I don't know how many of you have ever seen that, but that's what it was like. But as far as Yashoda, Krishna's mother in Vrindavan, is concerned, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-45 states, Trayat Chopanisha Bischa Sakya Yogaischa Sattvatai Upagiyamana Mahatmya Myam Harim Samanyatamajam. Mother Yashoda thought that the personality of Godhead, who is worshipped by all the Vedas and Upanishads, as well as by the Sankhya system of philosophy and all authorized scriptures, had been born from her womb. It is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:9-14 that Mother Yashoda bound the child Krishna with a rope as if he were an ordinary son born of her body. Another description of Krishna as being treated as an ordinary person appears in Srimad Bhagavatam 10:18-24. There it is stated that when Krishna was defeated in games with his friends, the cowherd boys, he had to carry Sridham on his shoulders. So he had to pay the price for losing. So they didn't see him as God. Or, I mean, it wasn't a consideration. But so there's Yashoda, the cowherd friends, but even Rukmini, one time she took serious, Krishna saying that, you're so much better than me. You don't, you deserve better than me. I'm not really fit for you. And he's just thinking, I'm just going to leave because it's just not right that you stay with me. And she just dropped a fan and fainted. And Krishna's joking, but she didn't know he was joking. She took him seriously. I want to read a little bit. We only got 10 minutes. What?
The Bhagavad Gita verse, I think.
Okay. Well, I'll just look. Please forgive, this is what I was looking for. Whatever I may have done in madness or in love. This is when he saw the universal form, Arjuna said that. Oh, come on, let's show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you want to ask any questions?
Not yet.
Okay. Regarding the gopis' dealings with Sri Krishna in Vrindavan, Srimad Bhagavatam 10:36-38 describes how when Sri Krishna took Srimati Radharani alone from the rasa dance, she proudly thought, "My dear Lord Krishna has left the other gopis, although they are as beautiful as I am, and he is satisfied with me alone." In the forest, she told Krishna, "My dear Krishna, I am unable to move anymore. Now, if you like, you can take me wherever you desire." Krishna replied, "You can climb on my shoulder." But as soon as he said this, he disappeared. Whereupon Srimati Radhika repented very much. When Krishna disappeared from the scene of the rasa dance, all the gopis began to lament, saying, "Dear Krishna, we have come here and left aside our husbands, sons, relatives, brothers, and friends. Neglecting their advice, we have come to you, and you know very well the reason for our coming here. You know that we have come because we are captivated by the sweet sound of your flute. But you are so cunning that in the dead of night you have left girls and women like us. This is not very good of you." Yes, and even when Krishna displayed a Vishnu form before them, they came and they offered their respects and asked, "Have you seen Krishna?" So they weren't at all attracted to this most beautiful Vishnu form of the Lord. But Krishna, seeing all this, he could no longer maintain it, and he revealed, that he is Krishna. He has his flute and everything.
Mataji, that's Alarnath.
Yes.
Yeah,
When, go ahead.
Good.
But Lord Chaitanya, when he couldn't see Lord Jagannath anymore, when he was in recuperation, as Lord Jagannath does for a couple weeks, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the Alarnath temple, because actually this is a form of Krishna in the form of Vishnu. It's that Krishna who appeared as Vishnu to the gopis. The deity is a Vishnu form, but it's Krishna in the form of Vishnu, that one who appeared to the gopis in Vrindavan. So he took solace there. And actually he fainted when he saw the deity. And if you go there, you can see an impression of Lord Chaitanya's body on a stone. And devotees go there and pay obeisances and seek blessings. Have you been there?
Yeah, I think that's where everybody hits you up for money.
Oh, that's everywhere.
No,
No, not
more.
in Jagannath Puri, no. We went, no, but I don't think anyone asked us.
Maybe I went to some other place. I went with Danadar Swami. And anyway. Anyway, what happened with the gopis, why Krishna left for Radharani is because the gopis were all becoming a little proud, that they're dancing with Krishna. So he left them all. And he just went with Radha because she wasn't proud. But then she also became proud, and then he even left her. And even when he left the gopis, and when he left with Radharani, the gopis were like a little envious of Radharani. But then when they found Radharani, they weren't envious. They felt really bad for her that Krishna left her. So they have feelings. It's like people have feelings. But of course, it's the envy. It's not like envy here. It's just like, oh, Krishna's with her, I don't remember the exact word, but there were some feelings like this between the other gopis until they found Radharani crying by herself. So Krishna doesn't like his devotees becoming proud, even no matter who it is. He doesn't like his devotees becoming proud. So, we really don't have anything to be proud of, but somehow or other, we can become proud, even though we have no real reason to become proud of anything.
Borrowed plumes.
Borrowed plumes, yeah. I remember that saying. You get plumes, you get some feathers from different birds, and you decorate yourself, and oh, I look so beautiful. It's borrowed plumes. It ain't you. And even the body, even if your body looks real beautiful, it looks beautiful for how short a period of time. It's maybe years, but it's still very short compared to eternity. And then it's not going to be very beautiful. So does anyone have any questions?
I just have a comment, Prabhu. Prabhupada said the beauties of this world, they are actually compared to crows, compared to the spiritual world. They all look like crows.
Right. The most beautiful people, well, we generally say like the most beautiful woman. They're just like crows compared to the spiritual world. Even compared to the heavenly planets, they're pretty gross compared to the woman on the heavenly planets. And those compared to the spiritual world are no comparison.
And even in the heavenly planets, their bodies smell nice. Here, our bodies tend to emit not as pleasant odors.
Foul odors. So we have a perfume that business making billions of dollars.
Right.
To cover up the smells. And you can imagine in this country, years ago, like the cowboy days, people would bathe just once or twice a year.
Oh my goodness.
And they would use perfumes and stuff. And in England, that's what they did. They used perfumes to cover up. And the American Indians would bathe every day. And the Europeans thought that it was very unhealthy to bathe so much. You get sick. You can imagine how they smell. And I remember going to the Ukraine to get my visa once in New York. And there's all these Ukrainians. And I remember coming out and the Ranjan Swami was waiting in the car. And I told him, if there's so many people in there smell, they don't bathe. He says, yeah, you get used to it when you go to Ukraine. And
I don't think I'd ever get used to it.
he said, even some of the devotees don't bathe. Not regularly, He said that, even some of the devotees. Of course, in the temple is certainly, I never really noticed that so much in Ukraine, but I definitely noticed it when I went to the Ukrainian embassy in New York. But the Europeans don't bathe regularly. They don't.
Yeah, in England, I think I've heard of people, they bathe once a week.
Yeah, that's good enough. Oh, but the cleanliness is godliness. They have no godliness. Anyway, they have no conception of God. How can he keep his body so filthy? It's a mode of ignorance. Okay, we got 2 minutes. Any questions or comments? Well, I have one question. If you have a question, Gad, what is it?
No, according to Vedic principle, we're supposed to bathe 3 times a day, not just even once.
At least twice.
Yeah, at least, yeah.
Minimum twice a day.
I think there was a story of how Nandi became Nandi because she was supposed to pass on the message that you're supposed to bathe 3 times a day and eat once a day. But instead, she said, you eat 3 times a day and bathe once a day.
I never heard that, but I like it.
I heard that in my childhood. I don't know if it's true or not, but I like
it. Who's Nandi?
Lord Shiva's bull.
But you said she.
Oh,
bull is not a she.
He
Yeah, that's what confused me. I thought of him, but then you said she.
Yes, he was cursed to be a bull because of that, because he made the mistake of giving the wrong message to eat 3 times a day and bathe once a day instead of saying bathe 3 times a day. And eat once a day.
Actually, in Krishna Katamrita Bindu, I read that Nandi is actually an incarnation of Krishna. He comes to serve Shiva.
I never heard that either, but there's a lot of things I haven't heard. And even the things I heard, I don't remember. So, but that I don't think I ever heard that. And that's, where is that?
In one of the articles Jivanausadhi has about Shiva, it was there.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Anyone remember some of those ecstatic symptoms?
Okay.
Roaring.
Thundering.
Mataji, what did you say?
Sorry, I said roaring, Mataji, thundering. Yeah.
Roaring, yeah.
Changing color.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes people do that when they get bashful, they're embarrassed, they change color.
That's right.
I can do that by standing outside for 15 minutes on a hot day.
But even for us, the emotions affect the body so much. So spiritual emotions, affect it also.
That's true.
Should we sing to her?
What?
We missed her.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that's it, huh? No other ecstatic symptoms?
Yawning, stretching, elongation.
Rolling on the floor.
Yeah, rolling on the floor, yeah. Yawning. I don't know what that.
You're standing on it?
Yeah, hair standing on end. Belching.
Hiccups.
Hiccup, right.
Hiccups.
About drooling.
Drooling. Shaking, shivering, your head shaking back and forth. Maybe that's why the Indian people got that from. They're right ecstatic love.
And when we do in kirtan, dancing and clapping.
And singing.
Singing.
Dancing.
Yeah, we just said it.
Tears.
Yeah.
Tears, yes.
Laughing also.
Laughing, yes.
Forgetting.
Bleeding, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Bleeding.
You read that from here.
Bleeding. Yeah, that's
Spontaneous bleeding.
Can't able to speak.
what?
Stunned.
Stunned, yeah.
Yeah.
I was yawning a little while ago. Does that mean I was ecstatic listening to you too?
I had the hiccups too.
Pyari was yawning. I saw him.
I was hoping someone noticed.
I was gonna kick him to make sure it was real.
He was ecstatic reading.
No.
just as I was ecstatic listening to him.
But if I kicked him, we would have found out how real it was.
Yeah, right.
You would have heard some things that should be muted.
Ouch! Why did you kick me?
Anyone remember the 7 secondary relations?
Or any of them.
ecstasies?
Any of them.
Oh,
Chivalry.
chivalry, yeah.
Ghastly.
Ghastliness. Yes.
Ghastly, and that's Bhayanaka, not Bibhatsa. I thought that was Bibhatsa. Bibhatsa is disgust.
I don't know what you're saying.
No, in Sanskrit, they
Oh,
have names
Sanskrit.
too. Yeah.
But all we got is ghastly and chivalry. More than that.
Disappointment.
Yeah, devastation. It's good that she asked the question. She doesn't know what the answer is.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you could translate as that is devastation. Is that the same as
What?
devastation?
What?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Mataji.
Disappointment?
Disappointment? No, I don't think so.
You could be
Extreme
very
disappointment is devastation.
Extreme disappointment.
Devastating.
Pity,
Anger.
wonder. And then the 5 primary. And what are the primary?
What's the first of the primary?
Shanta.
Right. And second?
Das.
Dasya.
Okay.
Third.
Sakya.
Sakya.
Fifth?
What? Madhurya.
Got it.
And fourth?
Vatsalya.
Very good.
Anybody know the 9 Yogendras?
Oh, no.
Shanta.
Kavi is one.
There's a couple that are kind of famous.
Karabhajana.
Harbhajana, right.
Havi.
Yeah, Javi.
Havi.
I don't know any of
Yeah,
the
that's
others.
okay.
Mataji, we should ask Ashtamangal Prabhu for the answer.
Okay, it's after 8.
Palayana, yeah, Palayana.
Yeah. There's in the 11th canto, the 9 Yogendras are speaking to King Nimi. You read that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty detailed.
Yeah, they each speak. They each speak on
Yeah.
a different topic.
Yeah. There's Shanta Bhaktas.
Wow. Shanta Bhaktas know so much.
Anybody remember any of the devotees in the friendship?
Arjuna.
Arjuna,
Sridham, was it?
Ram, right?
Sudama.
Nama,
Subala.
Bala,
Madhumangal.
Madhumanga.
What she said?
Madhumanga.
Said Hanuman? That's what you said. You said right, and I don't know what she
I
said.
didn't hear, I heard Madhumango.
Oh.
Um, How about examples of those in the shunt? We did the shanta. Okay.
Servitude. Did we do servitude?
Oh, can you remember any of those that were examples given here?
Servants is Hanuman. Hanuman was a servant.
4 Kumaras?
No, the 4 Kumaras are Shanta.
Shanta.
Shantaras, yeah.
But in Vrindavan, there were 3 cowherd boys who were listed.
Madhumangal.
As
No.
what? Listed as what?
As examples of devotees in the second stage, servitorship.
Oh,
Sridham.
No,
Raktak.
yep.
Raktak. Does anybody know?
They all kind of rhyme.
Bhaktak Raktak.
We had a devotee living here named Raktak once. Anybody
Yeah,
know?
I remember him. I remember him.
Nice devotee.
Yeah, and his brother was a devotee too. He had a
Yeah.
brother devotee.
Yeah. Nice.
Raktak, Chiktrak, and Patrak. And who are the ones related in Madhurya? There's the Vrindavan, there's the Dwarka, and then Vaikuntha.
Oh, in Dwarka, the queens. In Vrindavan, the gopis. And in Vaikuntha, Lakshmi?
Yes, the Lakshmis. Very good.
Okay, everybody passes. So you all can continue next week. Nobody's getting kicked off yet.
So Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the Madhurya Ras, is it?
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It's the highest stage of, what is it?
Mahabhava. Mahabhava. That's the highest stage. Mahabhava Swarupini, this Radharani.
Anyway, thank you all for participating, and hope to see some more of you with your video cameras on next time. We hope, not that we. Hari Bol.
Haribol, Radhe Radhe.
Yeah, walking.
What do you?
I've been busy moving flowers around.
You look like you're a doctor in a doctor's office.
It's, I guess the blue, you know how they wear their blue thing.
Blue, I guess, yeah.
And you got those pills
I'm in the
behind
temple.
you on the shelf. It looks like you're gonna give people injections.
Oh my God, look at Multipriya walking.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice
She's
view.
She's
they have
walking
nice
and
trails
listening.
in
huh?
Farmington.
Are
Oh,
you-
you just around the house?
Is that your street?
That's the view for you.
Oh, that's amazing.
I may not be waking up tomorrow. I went for a 5-mile walk with my son. I forgot I was not in my 20s.
Aji, I beat you. I did 8 miles.
8 miles? Oh my God.
Ah,
See, my watch shows it.
Amazing. I did 5 miles and I can barely get up right now.
Well,
I walked about a block, maybe.
Yeah,
So today, I think the farthest I walked is between my car and my house, so that's not far.
Okay, so next week I want to hear people walking more.
I see Padmaja and her whole family. Nice. Hello, Padmaja and family.
Oh,
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
okay, so anyway, I have to go. Jiva can stay.
Oh, I gotta go.
She has nothing to do.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all, yeah.
I gotta go for a walk.
But I need to take my rest. She has to tuck me in.
I was going to say, sounds like that video all over again.
Right,
Yeah.
right. We gotta find that and show it.
I know. Mahadana is the only one who must have seen it with me.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
I know.
Yeah,
Much hasn't changed. Huh?
Yes, right? It's like
Oh,
30 years.
yeah, it's over 30 years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But we still have it somewhere. We didn't.
I think you showed it once. You found it, I remember.
Oh, I know. It's
You
probably
need
where
a
it
slide
is.
projector. It's
Yeah.
on slides.
Yes.
You can get those scanned now, you know. Somebody could scan them for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Jairade, yeah, we should do it for posterity.
we should to, preserve it for posterities.
Yeah.
If you can find the slides, I'll figure out a way to get them taken care of. How's that?
Oh, I can find them. It would be good to put them on like a video. Just put the slide, leave it on, make some comments, go to the next, something like that.
If we get them digitized, you can do whatever you want with them.
Right.
The history of the East Hartford Temple.
Yeah, she's saying maybe we should see it first to see if we want to do it. But I'm saying I remember it really well, and it's very, very good.
Pyari, the reason you started it is because all the temples were doing like kind of like the history of their temples.
Yeah, they were showing their temples, you know.
Try to attract the buddies to come.
Right.
We're trying to attract brahmacharis. But that is why we did it originally. That's a joke, not as a real thing.
I know.
Yeah, it's really good. Anyway, that'll be good. We should show that. We if we get it, we can do it on one of these things somehow.
Yeah.
Sure.
That would be fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'll find the slides and you can figure out how to.
I'll figure out what to do if you let me. If you find them, I'll find somebody.
Now I really have to go.
Okay. All right. Well.
Pyari, Prabhu and Jiva Mataji.
Hare Krishna. We'll have Kirtan from Padmaja Mataji's family.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So happy to see all of you. You can start the Kirtan.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Tushaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pachadari Shatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Jivanausadhi Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhav Radha Madhav Radhe. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for the wonderful Kirtan. All wish you Shri Prabhupada. It was very nice to have you, all of you. Hare Krishna.